You're listening to Tales of the Forsaken, a live play Fate Core game by Noble Jester Productions.
So in case you are just joining us, this is not our normal Tales of the Forsaken. This is a side project we're working on where we're flipping roles. I am DMing for Jesse, and he's getting to suffer through the world that I am creating and imparting all sorts of stress into him. So this is the last episode of this 4-part series. If you haven't started listening to it, definitely want to recommend starting there. And then we'll be back to our regular Tales of the Forsaken episodes.
All right.
Okay, so...
I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, you need to conserve your energy for what's coming.
At this point, I'm just trying to survive both myself and Gavin.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all downhill from this season.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure.
So, where we left off, you got to this central chamber, uncovering, seeing all of these different creatures. Based on your knowledge, you're a well-studied person, knowing different races. Essentially, you have we call deep ones, kind of like fish people, that have kind of like the fish head, and then the lower body with 2 arms, 2 legs, or bipedal. And then you have these essentially like Naga, where they've got serpentine-type bodies in the lower portions and muscular upper portions. So, looking at this room, just a quick recap, you've got essentially like a cage that's between you and these other creatures. You see Cinder, and there's 2 or 3 other people, you can't really tell, in this cage with them. Beyond, you have all of these Naga and deep ones together, with then beyond that, some sort of very large creature. You have no idea what this could potentially be. It's not moving, so that's something you can tell pretty quickly is it is kind of in like this stasis. In this room with these people, you can see that there are runes and different things painted on the walls and the floor, and they're kind of discussing things at this moment. Beyond that, there are a couple different ways out of here. So there is another hallway like immediately to the right side that kind of goes off in another section of this base. And then beyond, there's kind of 2 more, so kind of mirrors here where you are. So this seems pretty centrally located, if you were to kind of picture what this looks like, based on what you've seen.
Me making my way to this location, have there been branch hallways that I didn't take, or has this been pretty much just a straight shot between the hangar or whatever, the dock, and this room?
Pretty much a straight shot. There were some little offshoots, but it was pretty easy to see. You could look into those, and they appeared to be dead ends. So there might have been branches on those, but everything was kind of filtering towards this central location.
Okay. And where I placed those explosives, that would essentially be on that hangar, the dock that I came in, right? Correct.
Or at least very close to it. So with those, you don't know the extent of the damage, but it could take out, the integrity of the moon pool and this. I mean, you don't know that exploding things underwater can be a little dangerous, obviously, other than just the immediate explosion.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I've kind of shot myself in the foot because my only known exit at this point is a location that I've now twice over rigged to blow.
Correct. One you control, one that you have basically lit the fuse.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I guess for the moment, Gavin would just kind of hang out, trying to just see if anything major changes. I assume he can't understand or hear. You said they're having some sort of discussion.
Yeah, they're having discussion. Definitely sounds like a language that you would not be familiar with.
Okay. In his mind, he would say, Glass, can you hear that language? Is that anything that you can translate or identify?
Gavin, the volume's pretty low. I'm unable to make out what that is.
Have you seen any other entrances or exits to this station other than the pool that I entered from?
From what I am gathering, it seems pretty symmetrical, so that entrance point It's very likely there's one on the opposite side.
There's some sort of large creature in the center of this structure. Does it appear that that creature is outside in the water?
Yes.
Okay. So there's some sort of an open space in the center of this. So is the station kind of like, structures around in a circle and there's a large open space in the middle, or?
So based on what you've seen, you haven't gotten the impression that like this thing is like a donut. That may not go all the way around. There's definitely some sort of angle to it, like it's kind of around something. Looking out through the water, you don't see like any lights, like there's a portion of the base beyond whatever this creature is that you're seeing.
Okay.
But you do know that like you were, at like sea floor, and now if you're looking straight ahead and you're seeing something that is probably a couple 100 feet tall, you're looking at an eyeball. So there's a definite drop off into some deeper water of whatever this thing is in.
Yeah, so when you say, the other side, there's probably another exit. You're not talking about on the other side of that creature.
Correct. So like picture like kind of a half moon shape. If you're in the center of that sea or the moon, if you came in halfway up this arc over here, it's what Glass is saying is there's probably another moon pool on this opposite side of this arc.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was a armory and a mess hall.
Yep. Some barracks.
Then
the moon pool that you went in, and then those mer people went the opposite direction.
Okay. How distracted did they seem?
They're in a pretty heavy discussion, so they're pretty distracted.
I am going to see if I can get Cinder's attention.
Okay.
Without them seeing me. So I don't know if I have maybe some kind of rations that I could, something soft that I could kind of form into a ball and try to throw it at the cage. Something that won't make a lot of noise but might attract the attention of somebody in the cage.
Let me propose this. So, with your tool that you have, you're using it all the time. It's got a very distinct kind of click to it. That with how close you and Cinder are, like, you feel like maybe she would know this noise. But maybe it wouldn't stand out enough for anything else to get that. The distance you're at, don't know if she would hear it. There is, that set of pillars that are a little bit of the ways into the room. Maybe that would be close enough where you can kind of like echo it close enough to her where she might hear. I'm gonna try.
Are there very many other structures or things in this large room that maybe I could hide in or behind? Or is this going to be, there's pillars and a cage and then everything else is open?
Everything else is pretty much open, at least on the side that you were in.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess I'd go ahead and get as close to the door as I can without actually entering this room and flip the multi-tool and see if that gets Cinder's attention at all.
Okay, I'm going to see if she notices this. Yeah, so you're watching, you're hoping that she's picking up on this, and she's already like, even though she's been captured, her, she's looking for any way out of this. She's on still, even though she's captive. So you're watching her, you can tell she kind of like tilts her head as you're making this noise, and then she looks back in your direction.
Gavin would look at her, and I'm trying to figure out, I don't know that there's really much he can communicate at this distance, but he's going to hold up this energy rifle that he took just so she can see it, and then try to just communicate, be ready.
Okay, yeah, she gives you a nod. She kind of gives some she's using her body as like a visual break from enemies behind her, and she kind of gives you a count of the ones that are in the room, so you can kind of see. So she basically gives you 3 5s, so you've got 15 that are in here. She gives you kind of the angle to the other side, She shakes her hand just like an I don't know down that way. And then towards you, she kind of like points up too. Like there are potentially a couple that were in that direction that she had seen. So she's trying to like kind of give you, hey, this is how many that potentially there are. So she's trying to help, but you can see nervousness. Even though she's nervous because that's a lot, and it's just you and her.
Yeah.
So as she's kind of making these moves, the discussion ends, and immediately a few of these start walking towards the cage, and one's got a key out, and he's walking up to open it up.
Gavin says in his mind, Glass, blow the explosives.
Okay. All right, so Glass sets these explosives off, and it rocks the place. They go on high alert. So immediately you've got this larger one. He begins to bark out these orders you can't understand. You have a couple that start fanning out and running into the other hallways. None thankfully come your direction. A couple others like pause as they were heading over to the cage, but they now hurry what they're doing. So they open up this metal door to this cage, and they grab onto the captain, you can tell by what he's wearing, and yank him out of the cage. Cinder, still kind of in shock of what's going on. She doesn't really have time to react to what's happening, and they close the cage shut.
How many are left in here?
So there are 10 left in here.
Ugh.
Yeah, so you've thinned the numbers. Obviously, you've disrupted this, whatever is going on here, but they're now like double time. Another one comes in from the hallway quickly, dragging a cart with this crystalline ship mine from the Luminat, which is very large, into this room. And they begin hurriedly pulling these, kind of like what you witnessed when you saw Fringe's ship mine in there, of things connected to it that just looked off. They begin pulling these things kind of from the floor and the wall, and begin like wrapping around this ship mine of the Luminat.
When you're saying they're pulling things from the floor and the wall, are you talking about like cables?
Kind of like cables and tubes, and they also have, like, you can see here too that like there's kind of like runes and things that kind of mirror what you've seen in the walls in here. So
they're essentially trying to plug in the Luminat's ship mine into their station, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. So they're making double time. Are you going to try to intervene in them trying to do this, or what are you doing?
I mean, at this point, I don't really see... I was hoping with the explosions to draw some of them in my direction to try to deal with a smaller group, but that didn't work, so...
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't really see any other option at this point other than just walk in and try to bluff my way through this. I just don't see I don't have any weapons. I don't have anything really, to...
Okay.
That's the only idea I have, so...
Okay. So are you walking in there? What are you doing exactly?
Yeah, I think I can't come up with anything else. So they are currently trying to hook this thing up, essentially to their station. There are magical runes in there. They're attaching cables. At any point, did I pass any sort of like a, interface of some kind that, because obviously if they're hooking this thing up to this station, there's got to be some kind of computer, magical whatever that they're using to control things. Did I ever pass anything like that?
You did not. There are definitely controls in this room. Looking around, that you can see they're kind of like to the side, but closer to this glass wall.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't think of anything else. So, Gavin's gonna walk to the door and loudly slide this energy rifle along the ground toward the cage. Just kind of like kick it in, and then probably just hands it his sides, take a couple steps into the room, and he's gonna say, This is such a bad idea because he probably can't even communicate with these creatures. Okay, wait. Here's a question.
Okay.
I'm trying desperately here.
Oh, sorry.
They closed the cage.
They did.
Did he lock the cage?
No. So in there, that I think was probably one of the benefits of them working at this more quickly is you notice that they closed it, but they didn't lock it back.
How many people are in the cage?
Now that they took the captain out of there and you're looking more clearly, there are 2 in there. So it's Cinder and one other.
Oh, okay. Alright. Scratch all that, what I said. It would just be stupid, because I don't think Gavin can actually communicate with these creatures. He's going to wait a little longer for any other sort of advantage or anything that might happen.
Okay, no problem. So as you are sitting there, you hear the sound of water behind you, that hallway that you came through. And it's getting closer. So you're basically starting to realize, okay, I caused some structural damage and there is some water that is coming into this. So it's starting to kind of flow against the back of your heels and now in front of you. It's not like some, massive water wall. It's just like there's some water starting to trickle into here.
With how far I walked and essentially the distance between that room, the hangar room, and here, how far I walked to get here, and the amount of time it's been since the explosion. Is there any way I can kind of roughly calculate how quickly the water is coming in? Because that seems like it's pretty quickly filling up.
Yeah, it's a lot of space between there and here. So, you've never been in this scenario before, so it's probably tough to know, but there's an active breach that you caused, and it is now beginning to flood the station. So, I guess we'll just use that to create an aspect here of the station is flooded.
Okay.
Now, how long that's going to take, we don't know, and other things can happen, but that's the current status.
Okay. I'm going to try to get Cinder's attention again.
Okay.
Which probably isn't difficult.
Yeah, not a problem. So they're like, these creatures are kind of panicked, moving quickly. They're hooking all this up. You're able to get Cinder's attention, no problem.
I'm going to splash in the water a little bit just so she can see it.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to go, move. I guess listeners can't see that, but
sure.
One hand on top of the other and move it up. So just kind of indicating that
it's rising.
The water is rising.
Okay, yeah, she responds back. She nods like she gets it. As you two are trying to communicate, these creatures a double time on what they were doing. They've pulled the captain out up into the middle of this room, and the main big guy that's in the middle has this trident. He shoves it down straight into his chest, pulls it out as blood splatters across, and he collapses. And as this blood is running out, you can see these other runes lighting up along the floor towards the glass. They scramble, another guy runs over, is hitting the controls near the glass. You can see the Luminot ship mind pulsing, and then this suck type of energy from it, and this darkness kind of overcoming it.
Can I interject something?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I had previously asked with Fringe's ship mind, if I could physically destroy it. Basically said no. I don't know a lot about this energy rifle I'm carrying, but I would guess that I could probably do damage to that ship mind by shooting it with this energy rifle.
You could, potentially. Now, the Luminot, based on its size, like it's a kind of older, potentially hardier one, so you don't know the extent of what you can do, but you're welcome to try to shoot at it.
This seems real bad. So,
yeah,
I think Gavin would step into the room and start firing at the Luminot's ship mind.
Okay.
With the full awareness that he's shooting a being, but, knowing that his experience with Fringe and how, it seemed like Fringe was essentially dead, and it looks like they're essentially doing the same thing.
Yeah.
He's going to try to cut the process by destroying the Luminot's ship mind.
Okay, I like it. So let's go ahead then, and we'll let you take a shot. So go ahead and make a shoot roll.
Which is not something I have a skill with here, and I don't see any way that mechanics would make sense there. So, yeah. That's a 1. I do think that I would like to use a fate point probably here. I don't know, maybe go with me here.
Okay.
Talented pilot, I know that Gavin is not used to using a weapon like this, but I think his aim would still be pretty good.
Okay.
Because he's a pilot, he's, used to being in situations where he has to react quickly. He has good reflexes. Obviously, he, was able to fire that tow cable and hit something.
So you're going to spend a fate point to invoke that?
If you'll let me.
Yeah, I'll let you have it. I'm throwing a lot at you, so
okay.
We'll stretch that and do that. So
all right. So that would be a 3.
Okay. Yeah, I was going for a 2 there as far as difficulty for doing damage to this. So you step in, you take a shot, and you basically hit one of. You don't actually damage the ship mind crystalline structure itself, but you actually catch one of these cable type things that they've had connected to it, and it shoots off the side. So with that, they now know you are here.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one that was a little bit closer to the cage who's kind of standing by watching. He's going to turn and run over at you, and he's going to try to stab you with his trident.
Lovely.
Yeah. All right, that is a 2.
All right. That is, let's see, I guess I'd probably be using physique here.
Okay.
I mean, unless you let me use athletics and try to move away from it or dodge away from it.
I'll let you do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you're being nice.
I am.
So that is struggling to read the dice here, apparently. Too much stress.
Uh-huh.
That's a 1.
Okay, so it still succeeds then.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take a point of physical stress.
Makes sense.
So he rushes you and stabs at you and kind of grazes your arm, catches you pretty quickly. There's a lot of guys in this room. So there's one from the opposite end that rushes forward, and he's going to try to restrain you.
He said this was a pretty big room.
It is a pretty big room, but also there's a lot of guys in here, and one more can get to you.
Okay.
Let's roll physique for him here.
Oh, man.
I didn't roll so good, though, either. That is a 1.
That's a -1 for me. Man. Has the water made it into the room yet?
It has.
Could I invoke I forget what you called the aspect, but rising
Basically,
tide, essentially?
Yeah, this base is flooding.
Yeah. Can I invoke that, use fate point, and essentially, have him slip in the water? Or, I'm just trying for a reroll here, so.
Okay.
I think it would be a little more difficult to move. That's not much better. All right, so I got a 1.
Okay, so he's going to invoke the same one, so you get your fate point back. So he will successfully, basically jumps on you, and kind of wraps you up and has you restrained.
Okay. This is going so well.
So well. I won't have any more act or do anything. I'll let you take your turn.
Well, I mean, first thing is, I would assume that as this is happening, Cinder is coming out of the cage.
Yes, she is. So we'll get around to that. So
the first thing Gavin would do would be to throw her this weapon, this energy rifle.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just let this happen. So seeing this, she was also aware to know that they did not lock that door. So as these guys have rushed you, you've created this distraction. She busts out the door. You toss the rifle her way. I want to see how good your toss is.
Oh boy.
So I would say probably an athletics again.
Okay. Hey, that's pretty good.
That's a good roll.
That's a 4.
All right. So you are so focused, you toss this rifle. You see it, shooting up across the air, arcing down, right in her arms. She takes a shot at the guy who'd come over to try to stab you, since the other guy obviously is like right on top of you. Mm-hmm. So she is going to shoot. Let me pull up her.
Was that my full turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think with doing your weapon throw and all that.
Okay.
All right. So she actually took shoot as a good skill, which will help you out. All right. That is a 3. The guy's going to defend athletics. He got also a 3. So she's able to successfully get the gun, but she shoots and does not connect with this guy.
Okay.
As all this is happening, the other ones are still focused on what they're doing. Guy runs over, connects this back to the Luminant ship mind, and they're continuing. A couple of them start like chanting and almost seems like worshiping kind of their most likely what's out here in the water is what you're going to gather from what they're doing. Mm-hmm. One of these people you noticed was Dern Salida, the mechanic. He's with this group.
Dang it, Dern, I knew it.
Yeah. You're back up. You are currently restrained.
All right. So you said that there are these magical runes kind of all over this room, right? Mm-hmm. Are they active? Like I assume they're a part of whatever this thing that they're doing is. Mm-hmm. Gavin is obviously very familiar with the interplay between magic and technology, essentially.
Okay.
I mean, that's the entirety of the RGN's thing, mm-hmm. the ship mines, everything. It's all this connection between using technology to heighten magic. Mm-hmm. Would he have much of an understanding of how these runes are actually playing into this connection to the Luminant's ship mind?
It seems as though they are responding to what's happening. I don't know that you would know the full extent of what they're trying to do.
Is there any way to tell what these runes are actually made of?
From here, no.
If I use a fate point to say that we are right on top of a rune?
Man, because that's like way farther into the room. I don't think you could have we'd have to change a lot of, I think, the scene to justify that. So I don't think so.
Okay, so these runes aren't all over the room. It's just in that section.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was under the impression it was like on the walls, the floors, like
sorry if I didn't explain that well. It's like you walked in, there's that front section where there's the controls, the glass panel, the circular area, the runes around there, and kind of going up the walls around the sides of the glass. So all kind of in that central area.
Okay.
Towards this creature out there.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't know what. There's a whole lot I can do here. I think what I'm going to try to do here is using kind of the momentum of this guy wrapping me up, and I'm assuming kind of taking me to the ground.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to roll with it and take us both rolling along the ground at the other guy who attacked us.
Okay.
Try to, essentially I'm trying to create an advantage for Cinder to knock this guy off of his feet and give her an easier shot.
Got it. So you're trying to create an advantage more towards the guy that is on you?
The other guy.
The
one that she's currently
so you're kind of
on.
rolling towards, hoping to create an advantage and get him kind of off balance where
correct.
She can take him. Okay.
I want to use the one that's grabbing me.
Got it.
Together our weight to knock this guy, off of his feet or at least out off balance.
Okay. I guess go ahead and roll probably like a physique roll.
Okay.
He's going to contest that. He rolled a 3.
Well, I'm rolling terribly, so that's a -1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he succeeds with style. So, yeah, I would say with that, you go to try to roll him, but you kind of just don't have the timing right, and you end up just kind of putting yourself, like, face down where he now has you pinned, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this one that's got you pinned, he's just going to essentially maintain that. The one that Cinder had tried to shoot at before, realizing that she shot it at him, he turns and he's going to rush and try to knock this energy rifle out of her hands. So I'm just going to do that as a fight. So he rolled a 0. Cinder is +1 in fight. Rolled also 0. So she successfully defends against that, so he kind of rushes in with his trident, tries to smack it out. She kind of fights away, and he is unsuccessful in that. So she is going to, with that, going to try just to shoot him right up close because he's right in front of her.
Okay.
All right, so she rolled a 5 on her shoot attack. He's going to defend with athletics. Yeah, so this guy rushes up, tries to knock it out. She steadies herself. Energy rifle right to the face. This guy's head just blows off, and he drops on the floor.
Okay.
So that guy's done. Now there's only like 9 guys left.
I mean, she seems like she can handle it.
She's pretty competent, you know? So with that, the rest of them, they're spending their efforts trying to complete this ritual. So as you're pinned down, you thankfully see Cinder take this guy out. The rest of them are continuing what they're doing. You look out beyond them. Now that you're like 10 or so feet closer, you're looking out beyond this glass at this creature, and you can see from some point in the water there is this purplish beam that you didn't see before that's connected to something going across and is encircling the neck of this creature. As this ritual progresses, it's moving pretty quick. They've got this ship mine connected back, and the captain has been slain here. His blood is running out. This beam flickers and disappears from around the neck of this creature. So we're going to add an aspect. The mother is free.
Okay. I really don't feel like I'm going to survive this or succeed in any way, so...
You wanted horror.
Yeah. To be honest, though, I actually am okay with that, because I was probably going to try to release that creature anyway.
Okay.
I don't really care what happens to this world. And that seemed like... I wish I had done it, so maybe it, would help us instead of them, but, we'll see what happens.
Well, they're the worshippers of Mother Hydra, so they obviously wanted her to be free.
Well, when you worship a Lovecraftian monster, it often turns against you. So.
That's very true. So, with that aspect, the mother is free, so you can see whatever was holding this creature in place has been broken. It's not like she immediately wakes up, flips out, swims away, but you can tell that whatever magical influence, whatever was put in place here, whether it was recent or ancient, you don't know, this has been broken and she is free. So she starts to begin to move. You can see kind of her swaying back and forth, and you can see her bringing the water in. You can see her gills on the side of her neck kind of flaring, and you can start to see some movement happening as you're in this battle with these creatures.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they have completed their ritual, so they could definitely turn their attention towards you. However, as you are laying down on the floor, looking up in horror at what's happening, you see a trident fly across the room and stab into one of these deep one, like fish-like creatures, and he it falls over on the ground, and you kind of roll and look back, and you can see these two mer people, and one of them has clearly thrown this. So they are now engaged in this, trying to attack these Naga and Deep Ones. So that is now happening. Also, there's definitely a lot more water starting to fill this chamber as this is happening. And then, back to you.
Okay, so I'm pinned. I've been able to roll around enough to be able to see these things happening.
Yeah.
Am I drowning?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say if the water is entering in this sort of way, you're being held down. It's starting to lap up. Like before it was a couple inches, and now it's starting to get up where it's like halfway up your mouth as you're laying there kind of sideways taking all this in.
Okay. How am I pinned? Like, how is he holding me?
So he just has like one of your arms down underneath you, so the weight of yourself is on your arm. The other arm is behind your back, and it's like leaning down on top of you with its weight.
Okay. I want to struggle, not with like an attempt to actually get free or, break my own arm or anything like that. Just enough that I'm keeping his attention on me, hoping that Cinder can just blow his head off.
Okay, so you're essentially
trying to create an advantage again.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's see, what skill would I use here? Maybe
bluff.
Cool. I don't have it, so that's a 0. Yeah, I think that I don't think there's anything I can really do with that. So I'm in a bad situation here.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to invoke the flooding, I think that could add to your bluff of like this water's like kind of come up on your face. So if you wanted to spend a fate point for that to kind of heighten the sense that he's really got you covered.
Yeah, that would be my last fate point.
How's that feel, running out of fate points?
It doesn't feel good. But none of this has felt good, so it really tracks. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and do that.
So you successfully create an advantage of where he's kind of distracted and maybe eases up his defenses a little bit to give a boost for Cinder attacking.
Okay.
As you do that, remember how you rigged Fringe's ship to explode?
Yes!
Boom!
Finally!
So it goes off, and now you hear a lot of water. Also, at the same time, you see a couple of the other guys rush towards the controls. They're punching in commands, and this base that you're in, it is starting to lift up out of the water.
Oh, come on.
So you pretty quickly make the connection that this is potentially some sort of flying vessel as well, like a capital type ship. But obviously it's down on the floor here. So they are trying to get up out of the water because there is now a whole lot of water rushing in. So Cinder's, I'm going to have her go ahead and go and shoot this guy. Go ahead.
Is Torrent anywhere in view?
He is not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully in the other hangar.
Hopefully.
All
right. So Cinder's going to go to shoot at this guy. That is a 3 total. He's going to defend with... he fails for sure. So
he also has the advantage, so another +2.
Absolutely. And it was definitely enough because he rolled like garbage too. So you got this guy on top of you. Has this clean shot because he's kind of relaxed a little bit, not having to fight your struggle as much. And she just takes him out and he falls off of you. And obviously as this is happening, a lot of water is now starting to rush into here.
Yeah.
So what are you and Cinder going to do? Are you going to stay here? Or are you trying to take care of what's going on? You're definitely outnumbered. So I'm going to actually add that as an aspect as well. There are 8 of these guys in here currently. You also now have a couple essentially merfolk assassins who have tried to intervene as well. What's your plan?
Well, having seen Fringe's ship and kind of the way that they corrupted him and plugged him in and all that, can I tell from the process of what's been happening if the Luminaut's ship mind is what is being used to pilot this station?
No, I think based on what you're seeing and understanding, that was used as a sort of magical power source to help aid in the ritual of them breaking this thing free. This ship was just fine on its own before that, so it can definitely fly.
Okay. I mean, at this point, Cinder's out. There is another person in that cage. I don't know what they're doing, but we could just run for it. However, I did say that one of Gavin's goals at this point is to destroy these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's going to happen from here. So I think Gavin would get up and yell at this person to follow.
Okay.
And just with the basic knowledge of this base that he's gained, I'm sure it's not great, but he would guess which hallway leads toward the other hangar.
Okay, so you're trying to go towards like essentially like the other hangar moon pool area.
Yeah. And start running.
Okay, so Cinder yells out to this other person, this female that's been in this cage. She yells, "Lysella, come on!" So this other lady runs out with you, and you all begin rushing towards this other moon pool. As you are running, this water is rushing in behind you, and it's starting to hit your ankles. It's getting up to your calf, to the back of your knee, like pretty fast. So this is filling up rapidly based on now having 2 sets of explosions that have gone off. So you're running forward towards your escape, your hopeful escape, and as you're running, Cinder's up in front of you, Lysella is right behind her, who is in the cage, and you get tackled, or attempted tackle from the side. So I'm going to roll from this. There's something that's trying to tackle you.
Okay. Since I'm running, I assume I can defend with athletics?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, that's terrible. That's a straight 0.
Okay, let's roll 4. So as you're basically coming up to kind of like a T-type junction, you're taken out from the side and you're knocked kind of down the hall. What's your reaction? Cinder kind of turns to look back. What are you doing in the moment?
What's around me?
There's like a door. Essentially all these corridors have like these doors. Picture kind of like a submarine where these like hatches were, or like airlocks essentially, where you could close those things off. So you have one of those at each of these T's. You have the aspect of dedicated to saving others. Mm-hmm. I guess I would compel you to, in this moment, be dedicated to helping Cinder and Lysella out by continuing to fight and having them run, and you get a fate point back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, and is kind of what I was thinking anyway. I think definitely Gavin would yell at them to keep going. So you said that there are these essentially like submarine hatches. Mm-hmm. So this guy, I'm assuming, dove out of a room at me, mm-hmm. and we're at a T, so he's knocking me into another one of these hatches?
Yeah, I said T, but it's more of like a plus sign. Essentially, you've got like a complete intersection.
So what am I being knocked into?
If you were running straight down this hallway, he dove at you from the right, knocked you over into this room on the left.
What's in there?
So in there is actually another armory.
So we've got this, I've got this stun back against the wall. Mm-hmm. I can use mechanics in place of fight when there's a legitimate aspect that can be used. So I'm getting thrown into an armory. Can you set some aspects here?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I would imagine
there's plenty of weapons here.
There should be plenty of things that I could mechanically use in a setting like this to shove him into, hit him with, whatever, in a way that hopefully would allow me to use mechanics in this situation to attack this guy.
Absolutely. So one of the things in this room would be where they actually make repairs to things as well. So it's like a armory slash like kind of mechanics repair room. So there's a table set up with like hanging tools and different types of things where they can work on that. So you could definitely manipulate this in a way that could be something to help you.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, if it's my turn, my attempt would be to use, again, Gavin's kind of all about using the momentum of things. He's gonna try to essentially continue this movement, spin and shove this guy onto this table and turn it on essentially, and
okay,
just try to use tools to rip this guy into pieces.
Yeah, go for it. So go ahead and make that roll. And
Okay.
He's just gonna roll like have a physique to try to get out of this.
So assuming I can use mechanics in this situation, that'd be a 6.
Ooh, yeah, you only rolled a 0, so you definitely succeed. With that, I mean, I'll let you describe how are you taking out this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that there's some sort of, not necessarily maybe a saw, but something that is for actually tearing apart metal objects so you can actually fix it. And whether that's electrical or an actual blades, Gavin's gonna essentially throw this guy on it, turn it on.
Okay. Yeah, this comes down on him and he's messed up from this. So it comes in, it kind of like cuts across his chest, comes back up, another tool comes in and like nicks his neck, and just take him out.
Okay. There's this moment where I'm assuming blood is splashed all over Gavin, and he kind of would have this thought of almost like warring between his afraid of causing harm, trouble, and his anger that these people have done what they did to Fringe and, killed the captain right in front of him, and all of these things that are happening. He'd have this tension between he just killed somebody, he's done a lot to try to stop that, but it kind of felt good.
Okay. Gavin is making a shift.
A little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, he would turn and chase after Cinder.
Okay, so you run out of this room and you turn to go and turn the direction of the hallway where they went to, and this hatch has been closed.
Oh boy. What was the room that he came out of?
Just like a barracks.
Okay. Are there any windows in the armory?
There are not.
Are there any windows in the barracks?
There are not.
Not leaving me a lot of options here.
I unfortunately am not.
How deep is the water back where I came from?
Now with this closed and having nowhere to run to, it's up to your waist.
Is there any way to open the door from the side?
You try to reach down, it looks like it's probably been latched from the other side.
Okay. I think the smart thing here would probably be to just lock myself in one of these rooms and, wait it out, but that's not what Gavin's going to do. I think Gavin would go back into the armory, and he's got this workbench, although it's covered in blood and gore.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of weapons. He would be trying to create some sort of an electrical surge.
Okay.
That, not necessarily a bomb this time,
Okay.
but the station is full of water. And something that will, have enough electrical current that it will fry anybody.
Okay. Now, you could fry yourself doing that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
He's trying to create something that he can take with him to use, not like, shove cables into the water and start frying people now.
So some portable device where push comes to shove, if you need to do that, then you have something.
Yeah, almost like an EMP.
Okay. Then let's have you make a craft roll really quick to see what you can make as this water is rapidly rising.
I mean, you said that these are like submarine hatch doors.
Yes.
I think he would close the door.
Okay.
Hoping that he could then get it open again.
Okay. Yeah, so this door opens inward toward the room, So you're able to, with this height of the water, you're able to force it shut and close it. So you're in about waist deep water. You are locked in this room.
Okay. So hopefully no more rising water in this room.
Correct.
Although I'm sure it's going to be full when I try to open the door. And yeah, I'm going to try to create essentially an EMP.
Okay. Go ahead and make your craft roll.
All right. That is a 5.
Nice roll. Okay, yeah, so this does take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate part of this. So while you are incredibly skilled, knowing I can use this, I can use that, I can put these things together, it's probably going to take you a couple minutes.
That's fine.
So as you're doing this, you close off the door, no more water's coming in, you're standing in waist deep water. You also can tell that this ship is actively rising.
Yeah.
So you feel the vibrations of it. It is moving upward. Don't know how quickly that's going to happen to get to the surface. You don't have how fast you're moving, but that is happening.
Yeah.
So you also hear glass in the meantime. Gavin, what's the plan? Are you coming out?
Glass, if I don't make it out of here, do your best to reconnect with Cinder, hopefully Torrent, but I will try my best. Has Torrent reconnected at all?
Yes, actually. It looks like Cinder's made contact and they are attempting, and looks like they are clear of this craft that is taking off. And I see what you had seen before. This creature is ascending.
How close are we to exiting the water?
They'll probably breach the surface in the next, based on my calculations, 15 to 20 seconds.
Am I done with this thing?
Almost.
Okay.
Glass also says, Gavin, there's one other thing. Looks like this craft has also had an energy surge and detecting a gravitational event at the surface.
What do you mean the surface?
So the surface of the water.
Okay.
So you're putting together basically there's a portal that's been opened up at the surface of the water.
Yeah. Oh, man. All I can do is continue in the current course of action. So I'm going to finish this thing as quickly as possible.
Yeah, you keep working and you're able to put together components from these different rifles and things in here. You create a switch. You're pretty impressed with how quickly you put this together. It's a matter of time. Now you're done.
All right. I'm going to have it primed and ready to set it off.
Okay.
But I'm not going to, until absolutely last moment. I'm going to go to the door, open it. I'm assuming water rushes in.
Okay, so something interesting here. So, as you're getting to this door, you begin to open it. This hallway is full of water outside, so instantly you are pushed back as this pressure and this water is trying to equalize with the room. So, pushes you back in the room, you kind of swirl around. I'm assuming you have done your best to hold your breath.
Yep.
As this happens, though, you feel kind of a shift of orientation and a suction of this water now exiting the ship. Pretty smart, you're realizing, okay, we've probably broken the surface and all this water is now rushing out and I'm going with it.
Correct. That's the plan.
Okay. All right. Well, cool.
So, Gavin would go with the water.
Okay.
So here's the hope. The hope is he can quickly get back to that control room. There's enough water there that he can try to, I don't know if he had the ability or the time to set a timer or anything on the EMP, but his number one goal is to set off that EMP in the control room and hope it wrecks this thing.
Okay.
His number two goal would be to try to have that happen as he's leaving and hope that he can get away from it fast enough with the rushing water to get back to that other pool and fall out of the ship.
Okay. I think with your craft roll before, I think that's strong enough to be like, yeah, you're able to set a rudimentary, delay in this. Not like a, nice computer screen and program, however many seconds, but you set a delay in here. Not really sure how long. Obviously, you didn't know what was going to happen, so you've got a delay set on this charge.
Okay.
Now, with this water being sucked out, that's a lot of force against you. So as far as being able to place it in this room and trying to get out at the same time, I think we need a sort of a physique or athletics type check here to see how you're able to fight against the current of this water.
Okay. The hope would be to use the current and actually place this thing inside that cage.
Okay.
So that it doesn't come with me.
I love it. So, yeah, let's get your roll to see how you're able to control fighting against and swimming against this water.
Okay. That is a 2, so that's a 3. Yeah, I think I would go ahead and probably, in this moment, I would probably use the fate point that you gave me back earlier. And, this dedicated to saving others aspect, whatever is happening with this station, at this point, it's gone beyond Gavin's anger to this thing can't exit this world through this gravitational anomaly. He has to destroy this station.
Okay.
So, so that'd be a 5.
So you're getting whipped through the hallways of this as the water's getting sucked through, kind of back and forth. You're fighting against the current, bumping against these walls, making sure you're not cracking your head as you're going through these hatches of these rooms. And you see ahead now this room. You kind of position yourself and you push off the wall, you grab onto these bars of this cage, you flip your device in there as you've set it, close it, and you're just kind of like letting go and then letting the water guide you out. Is that the plan?
Well, how much water is still in this room?
I mean, it's still like half full because it's sucking all of this out, and it's only got a limited space of, how quickly it can exit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still moving pretty fast. Like, you couldn't stand up in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would set the delay, to go off and let go. And, I mean, I'm not just, letting the current carry me. I would be swimming with it.
Okay.
Moving as quickly as possible away from this.
Okay, awesome. So, you're continuing on. You're, like you said, you're doing your best to position yourself in a way. You come up to this, what was the moon pool, and you can see the destruction here.
Oh, sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
You would also say, Glass, you're going to need to catch me.
Okay. So, you see this, and you can see it pouring out of this blasted space in this moon pool, and you are now out with this water, and you are free falling. And Glass got your message. You guys are in tune, and as you're coming down, you see Glass from above swoop in, trying to match your speed before you hit the water, because even though it's water, this would probably mess you up pretty bad at this height.
Yep.
So he breaks into the water's splashing off as this waterfall is coming down from the ship above. He positions, flips himself over, opens the hatch, matches, and then he catches you.
Oof.
Yeah.
Good job, Glass.
Good job, Glass. He catches you, closes the hatch. I assume you're trying to rush to get to controls.
Yeah, definitely. I want to strap in, get back in control of this thing, and see if that station is still intact or if I was able to actually do anything to it.
Yeah, so you run up to the controls, you get on there. Now you're, in this moment, you look out and you can see this portal that's been opened up. So it is probably the lowest point of it, about 100 feet above the water, stretched out 200-300 feet up into the sky. So it's basically perpendicular with the surface of the water. Like before when you were in the sea between and that portal had opened and how there was this extreme gravitational force on the outside, this same effect is happening here. So it is actually pulling up the water, and it's spraying it in a circular motion all around the perimeter of this portal. The sun's catching it, so you actually see a complete set of rainbows around this portal as it's flinging water. You look off to the side, you can see this ship that you were on the water completes exiting and it kind of levels out. And then you start to see this creature starting to breach the surface, first with a hand stretching out towards the portal. You do see Cinder, and she cries out, "Gavin, let's get out of here!" And so she flies, and she's exiting back through this portal. Are you waiting to see how your EMP does?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're sitting there, you're a couple 100 feet probably away from this portal. It is starting to kind of slowly pull you in. You're not like right up next to it where it's like sucking you through fast, but you're starting to feel the effects of that. You wait.
Well, I mean, by wait, I would be moving towards the portal.
Okay.
But I'm not going through it until I know. Even if it closes as soon as that station is destroyed, I'm not going through it until I know that is destroyed.
Okay, so you fly up a little bit closer where you're starting to feel more of the effects of this. Glass is kind of like shuddering from the gravitational pull of this. You're waiting, counting, hoping. You see this energy course through it, and then it starts to fall out of the sky. As this is happening, you see kind of on the perimeter you hadn't seen before of this ship, there were these energy fields kind of pulsing. They start to flicker, and you can see that with the flickering of that, this portal is starting to flicker as well. So something on there had opened this, and it looks like you have effectively started the closure of this portal.
Okay. Gavin's going to say, "Glass, I need you to run a quick calculation. You think this portal will close before that creature gets through it? I'm not leaving until we know that creature can't get through it, even if it means our deaths."
Give me a moment. It's tough to know the technology of this ship and how long this is going to take. I think so.
Oof, man. I mean, at this point, if Gavin thinks this creature could make it to the portal before it closes, he would just kamikaze slam into it.
Sure.
And then make sure it doesn't get through.
Okay.
But, man, he's not suicidal. He also has a very deep sense of not wanting to cause the death of Glass. Yeah, I think he would go through the portal.
Okay. So you kind of give into this gravitational pull, kick in your engines, and get out. As you're flying through this portal, make another will defend.
Okay. That is a 2.
Okay. On this Mother Hydra roll of 5. So you, for the third time now, feel this mental spike. And as you're flying through the portal, you hear, "I will be free, Gavin." And the portal closes behind you.